Survival shows have been a constant feature in the K-pop industry, with some groups formed through these programs achieving great success. However, many survival shows have also been hit by countless accusations of rigging, favoritism, mistreatment of the contestants, and much more. The latest example of a controversial survival show is Boys 2 Planet, produced by MNET. The long-anticipated sequel to the very successful Boys Planet has caused a lot of discussion online even before it started to air, and things only got worse after the first episode came out this past July. Before the show began, netizens were already complaining about some controversial contestants, including some that were apparently receiving favoritism from the producers. As the show started airing, many viewers began to think that there was definitely something shady about the entire program. Then, as new episodes came out, the accusations of rigging only gained more traction among viewers, to the point that now many netizens think that the winners of the competition were already decided in advance. One of the most controversial moments of the show, which sparked a huge wave of outrage, happened during the second episode. During this episode, the contestants began a grueling evaluation test called Signal Song Test, in which each participant would get an individual assessment by the program's coaches. The final ranking of the contestants would be decided by combining the assessment score from the judges, which would make up 70% of the final score, and points given by viewers, which would make up the remaining 30%. How many points each contestant would get from viewers would be determined by the number of views and likes on their individual fan cams. Among the contestants who performed on the Signal Song Test on this episode was Hyeop, a member of the boy group DRIPPIN, who debuted under Woollim Entertainment in 2020. He immediately demonstrated excellent vocal skills, but his dance performance was a bit more disappointing, so the judges decided to defer his ranking for the time being. After the scores from the coaches and the viewers were combined, 17 contestants were eliminated, including Hyeop. His elimination was a shock for many, as his score from viewers placed him in 13th place overall, meaning that he would easily continue to the next round. In fact, Hyeop's elimination surprised even his bandmate Kim Dong-yoon, who burst into tears as soon as he learned the result. Hyeop's surprising elimination immediately caused a lot of backlash online, with many claiming that this decision was completely baseless. Viewers bashed MNET for eliminating one of the most prominent candidates for the position of main vocalist early on, while some even suggested that the producers were trying to get rid of some notable contestants in order to push their own favorites. Countless netizens started accusing MNET of rigging the show, with many arguing that Boys 2 Planet is yet another example of an unfair program in which winners have already been decided by the producers behind the scenes. Unfortunately, Hyeop's elimination is far from the only instance of a contestant being disparaged during Boys 2 Planet. In fact, the judges and coaches have also been accused of having their own favorites, and some of their statements during the show have caused a lot of discussion. In some of the earliest episodes, viewers quickly noticed that some of the panelists often made comments about the appearance and weight of the trainees, with a couple of coaches telling contestants that their bad performance was caused by their physiques. Many fans were outraged by these comments, with some accusing the judges of fat-shaming the contestants, pushing outdated beauty standards, and publicly humiliating the trainees, while some tried to argue that most people in the K-pop industry believe that a lighter fit leads to better dance skills. Most netizens were still outraged by how the coaches spoke too harshly to the contestants. However, this isn't the biggest controversy surrounding the Boys 2 Planet coaches, as some have also been accused of being discriminatory against Chinese trainees. The first instance of this happened when the show aired a clip of Chinese contestant Zhongxing apparently being ridiculed for not speaking Korean. This was a preview of the show's next episode, and even though Zhongxing's face was blurred, fans immediately recognized him. In the clip, one of the vocal mentors of the show lashed out at Zhongxing for nodding instead of saying yes in response to a question, and then another coach asked him to leave while appearing visibly angry. The clip also showed another trainee getting angry at Zhongxing, telling him, "Even if you don't know Korean, shouldn't you at least pretend to listen?" The video quickly went viral online, gaining millions of views and sparking a wave of backlash against Boys 2 Planet. Netizens pointed out that Zhongxing was part of Planet C, a group of contestants mainly from China that was originally supposed to compete for a spot in a separate Chinese boy group. However, at the last minute, MNET decided to merge all the participants together and debut a single Korean group without giving any prior notice to the contestants. This meant that all Chinese trainees who were told they would debut in China never expected that they had to learn Korean, and suddenly found themselves in an environment in which it was hard for them to communicate. Meanwhile, Korean contestants suddenly found themselves with double the number of competitors and felt threatened, which only heightened tensions. Fans accused the show of being xenophobic against Chinese trainees, and while this controversy was ongoing, another incident caused another wave of backlash. At one point during the show, one of the Chinese trainees, Chen, was singled out by the producers for allegedly being absent at group practices, and the show even aired a clip highlighting how this caused problems for the other contestants. The show began painting Chen in a bad light, showing him walking around and talking with other groups of contestants instead of practicing, and some viewers criticized his behavior. However, netizens soon discovered that Chen was sometimes absent from practice because the production team asked him to translate for them. Since Chen is fluent in both Chinese and Korean, he was a valuable asset for both the coaches and the other trainees, with some of the contestants openly admitting how much he helped them. The clips showing him walking around and talking with people were actually moments in which he was helping other contestants. Netizens were appalled that the producers first used Chen's skills and then made him a victim of their evil editing, while others were shocked that the show didn't even have a translator. In fact, some have accused MNET of not hiring a translator on purpose in order to put foreign trainees at a disadvantage. With all these controversies, more and more viewers started to think that the show was just rigged from the start, and the backlash grew with each new episode. On September 11th, the show revealed the results of their latest popularity poll, which showed that contestants Kim Joon-min and Chung Sang-yeon were ranked 16th and 17th respectively. This result came as a shock to viewers, as many fans noted the sudden and unexpected drop in Sang-yeon's ranking, who had previously shown a strong performance in all previous polls, while Joon-min was also among the most popular contestants. Some Korean netizens have speculated that the entire poll has been rigged, arguing that MENET is deliberately trying to create a narrative arc for both Joon-min and Sang-yeon. According to this theory, the producers are pushing the idea that these two trainees risk being eliminated, intentionally putting them near the cutoff line to build suspense. This would lead to a wave of support for Joon-min and Sang-yeon, helping them secure a place in the final lineup without raising too much suspicion. However, this strategy has apparently backfired, as most netizens have already caught on and are now mocking MNET for their botched attempt at creating suspense. In fact, this only made netizens even more convinced that the final lineup had been decided before the show even began, and some are calling Boys to Planet a project made by a mafia company. Meanwhile, others feel bad for the trainees ranked just above Joon-min and Sang-yeon, as they would probably end up being pushed down and eliminated. Others also noticed how the drop in Sang-yeon and Joon-min's ranking coincided with an increase in screen time for them, which only confirms netizen suspicions. At this point, most people have had enough of Boys to Planet, and countless viewers have already dropped the show. The main reason for this is the clear favoritism that judges, coaches, and producers have shown towards certain contestants, and the unfair treatment other trainees have received. In fact, some have noted how certain contestants got assigned songs they weren't familiar with at all, putting them at a disadvantage. Others had their performances entirely cut out from the broadcast, making it almost impossible for viewers to notice them and vote for them. Adding to the accusations of xenophobia, some have noted how most of the performances that were cut were those of foreign trainees from Planet C. Unsurprisingly, this resulted in a large number of Chinese trainees being eliminated early. Also, many of the Chinese contestants have complained about the poor conditions of their dorms, which were infested with bugs, and some ended up being sick and going to the hospital. Other Chinese trainees also reported that they were treated poorly by getting cold meals and leftovers. When adding all these issues to the clear disparity in screen time and exposure, as well as several cases of unfair eliminations, it becomes clear why people have stopped watching. At this point, Boys to Planet has become one of the most controversial survival shows in K-pop history, and the trainees who will make the final lineup risk severe backlash even before making their debut. Unfortunately, this isn't the only survival show that has faced serious allegations of rigging, and many of these programs have actually been exposed for being blatantly fake, with the winners already decided from the start. What do you think of K-pop survival shows? Do you trust that they're fair, or do you think they're completely rigged? Share your opinions down below in the comment section, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to find out more about scandals surrounding survival shows in the K-pop industry. And if you thought the rigging was shocking, that was only one part of the mess surrounding Boys Planet 2. After the huge success of Boys Planet in 2023, fans couldn't wait to see another season of the program, but now that the sequel is finally here, new controversies keep coming out to the point that it could already be considered the messiest survival show ever. The long-anticipated sequel, dubbed Boys to Planet, started to air on July 17th and immediately became a talking point among netizens, as the first episodes already proved to be filled with controversies. In the first episode, various contestants showed their abilities to impress the judges, and among these was Hyeon, who performed Chuck Chuck Boom by Stray Kids. His performance wasn't great, and the judges quickly pointed out that he was out of pitch and his dancing was awkward, but also complimented his passion. Judge Lee Sa-kun even said that he had the best energy among all contestants. However, this couldn't save Hyeon, and he became one of the first trainees to be eliminated from the show. Following his elimination, he got an unexpected wave of support from netizens, with many saying that while he certainly butchered his performance, he had an undeniable charm and confidence. Netizens believe that Hyeon Hyeon has a lot of potential, and some are saying that the judges made a mistake by eliminating him so soon. This isn't the only controversial elimination, and viewers were shocked that an idol who has already debuted suffered the same fate. Indeed, while most of the contestants are trainees, the show also features idols who are already part of a group. These contestants are expected to fare better than others, given that they already have some experience, but apparently this wasn't the case for Thanatorn, a member of the boy group The Wind. He debuted in 2023, and despite having 2 years of experience as an idol, his performance in Boys II Planet got 0 stars from the judges, so he was immediately eliminated. Many netizens were quite annoyed by this, with some saying that the judges were too harsh, and adding that MNET's evil editing only pointed out his mistakes. Fans then shared clips of Thanatorn's true talent online, arguing that he's actually a great singer. Following this controversy, netizens have even started to say that the show already feels rigged, and some said that they don't want to watch the show anymore. In any case, the judges have still caused a lot of controversy already, not only for their decisions, but also for some of their statements. One moment that sparked a ton of discussion is a conversation between judges Hyeon and Just This. While judging the contestants, Hyeon asked Just This if they were supposed to take the participants' appearance into account when scoring them, and he responded that he was considering both their abilities and their looks. Hyeon was a bit taken aback by this, but Just This argued that physical appearance is part of the charm of an idol. The clip of this conversation was shared online by a netizen who wanted to express his discontent at Hyeon's disregard for the contestants' looks. However, this has backfired, as most people online have sided with Hyeon, arguing that she's right for preferring abilities over appearance, and that it's crazy that she's getting criticized for this. Some netizens have pointed out that over the past few years, a sustaining issue in the K-pop industry has been how vocal skills have become less and less important, and companies seem to prefer pretty idols to talented ones. Just this statement only confirms that this is exactly what's happening, and netizens now think that Boys II Planet will make this issue even worse. While the show itself has already proven to be controversial, the scandals surrounding some of the contestants are much worse. In fact, Boys II Planet started to cause controversy even before it started to air, as netizens discovered various issues with the contestants. One of the participants that people noticed immediately was Leo, a former member of Big Hit's pre-debut group Trainee A, who also appeared alongside the New Jeans members in BTS' Permission to Dance music video. However, he's also well known among netizens for a controversy that dates back to 2021, when he came under fire for including explicit misogynistic and insensitive lyrics in a rap he wrote in English. Leo faced severe backlash and tried to defend himself by saying that he wrote the lyrics while he was angry, even asking people to just ignore them. Netizens weren't satisfied with his explanation, pointing out that at 19, he was old enough to understand the problem, and being Australian, there were no translation issues. The video of his rap performance was quickly removed from YouTube by Big Hit, and the company apologized for the inappropriate lyrics. Leo himself then apologized, saying that he was ashamed and embarrassed by his mistake. This didn't really calm down the controversy, and Leo started to be much less active than the other members of Trainee A. Then, in August 2022, he surprisingly announced that he was leaving Big Hit, saying that he had a lot of worries. While he didn't say it explicitly, to many netizens it was clear that he was suffering from all the hate he received following his controversy, and fans were heartbroken, blaming Big Hit for not protecting the mental health of their trainees. Now, his participation in Boys II Planet has once again sparked a ton of controversy, with netizens remembering his insensitive lyrics and calling him a misogynist. The backlash was initially limited to international fans, but when Korean netizens found out about it, they were also very disappointed, with some saying that Leo just isn't suited to become an idol. Despite this, he's still in the show. Leo isn't the only controversial contestant, and a much bigger scandal surrounds Kim Siwon. Soon after he was revealed as one of the participants in the show, rumors about his past started to circulate online. According to these rumors, during his high school days, he used to hang out with delinquents, often mocked other students, and drank and smoked. He also allegedly threatened everyone not to post anything about his bad habits because he wanted to debut as an idol. Another netizen claimed that Siwon was continually inappropriate towards a teacher, to the point that she had to take time off from school. He has also been accused of taking pictures of another male student's private parts and sending them to girls as a prank and a way to harass his classmates. The same netizen also claimed that Siwon used to watch explicit videos in class. The accusation spread fast online, but despite the backlash, nothing has changed. Viewers were frustrated to see that Siwon continued to appear on the show like nothing had happened. Another scandal was sparked when an anonymous post claimed that contestant Kim Gon-woo was favored by high-ranking employees at his previous agency and used this to his advantage, ignoring other staff members and being rude to them. The post also claimed that he skipped dance lessons and instead went out drinking with his agency's managers and even traveled to Japan with them. According to the post, the monthly trainee evaluations were rigged worked in Gonwoo's favor, and every vocal and dance trainer without links to the company raised questions on how unfair the system was. The netizen also stated that Gonwoo acted like a king, and all the other trainees had to bow down to him whenever they saw him, or they risked being scolded. According to the accuser, the trainees, most of whom were minors, lived in fear of Gonwoo, and some developed depression and anxiety disorder and had to seek counseling and psychological treatment. Meanwhile, the company allegedly ignored the issues, telling the other trainees that they had to solve the problems among themselves. Then the netizen claimed that Gonwoo and two managers suddenly left the company, apparently because they embezzled funds from the agency. When these accusations came out, Gonwoo had already been revealed as the winner of the coveted center position for the show's main song, so the post immediately sparked a wave of outrage online. Mnet stated that they were looking into the matter, but the show started to air with no editing at all. Gonwoo's former manager tried to defend him, claiming that there was no favoritism and he was simply designated as the leader since he was the oldest trainee in the company. The manager also argued that their trip to Japan was a schedule approved by the company, and they never embezzled funds from the agency. However, the scandal only grew bigger when an alleged victim of Gonwoo posted evidence in the form of notes written by a therapist, which specifically mentioned Gonwoo as the cause of the victim's troubles, with the accuser demanding Gonwoo's removal from Boys 2 Planet. Gonwoo has since posted an apology, acknowledging that his past actions have hurt others. He argued that back then, he was immature and was going through some tough times, while also adding that some incidents were exaggerated and distorted. This statement only caused more backlash, as netizens accused him of trying to save face. While more and more people are demanding his removal, for now it seems that he's going to stay, and he's even keeping his central position. This story only underlines even more the increasing allegations of rigging that the show is facing. After all the contestants and the main song of the show were revealed, an anonymous post written sometime earlier became viral. The post contained names of contestants that hadn't been announced yet, suggesting that it came from a source close to the show, and revealed some rumors that were allegedly circulating among the staff of Boys 2 Planet. According to this post, the idols who had already debuted were acting like snobs and were treating the other contestants like newbies. The post specifically mentioned that the Verivory members were showing this kind of behavior, even adding that they smoke in the bathrooms, and suggesting that Kangmin was receiving favoritism as he got 3 stars despite not singing well. Other idols who are allegedly receiving preferential treatment are the WIB members, since their agency is one of the investors of Boys 2 Planet. However, WIB member Wonjun was apparently being ignored as he was deemed unpopular. The post also pointed out that the judges allegedly had their favorites and were pushing hard for some trainees, in particular Masato, Jang Han-eum, Yumeki, and Yoon. According to the rumors, all WAKEONE trainees were also being heavily favored. The post also claimed that Mnet has lied about 2 contestants, Kangwoo Jin and the already controversial Gonwoo, who were presented as individual trainees but are actually both affiliated with WAKEONE. Apparently, it had also already been decided from the start that Gonwoo would become the center. The post claimed that the only thing that isn't rigged about the show is the number of votes, adding that the members who will debut have already been decided and all other contestants are just pawns on Mnet's chessboard. All these accusations have sparked a lot of discussion online, and while it's hard to say how much of this is true, the fact that the post was written before all the contestants were revealed has given it more credibility. While not everyone believes the allegations, some have pointed out how Mnet has a long history of rigging survival shows, and many believe that the post is indeed telling the truth. Also, it's well known that both Mnet and WAKEONE are owned by CJENM, and this had already raised suspicions in past survival shows as well. In any case, netizens wanted some explanation from Mnet and WAKEONE, but they remained silent for weeks. Only after the show started to air, WAKEONE has indeed confirmed that both Gonwoo and Woojin are under contract with them, as claimed by the anonymous post. They apologized for the confusion, claiming that Gonwoo had applied for Boys 2 Planet before signing with WAKEONE, while Woojin was more of a singer-songwriter, so he was separated from the other trainees. In any case, this has only raised more concerns about transparency and fairness, and viewers are growing increasingly suspicious of the show. With all these scandals and increasing allegations of rigging, Boys 2 Planet is already one of the most controversial survival shows in K-pop history, and it will be interesting to see how the mounting issues will impact the program going forward. But Boys Planet 2 isn't the only show that went off the rails. Another survival program spiraled even further into chaos. K-pop survival shows have always tried to introduce fresh ideas to keep the fans hooked, but when the TikTok survival show Time Turner tried to do so, it completely backfired. What was meant to be a unique short-form idea has been called low-budget, disappointing viewers after just the first episode. A few months ago, it was announced that Time Turner, Korea's first live girl group survival show, would be launched on TikTok in November. Produced by the well-known Korean media companies PI Corporation and MakeStar, the show aimed to discover a new generation of global stars. Contestants would audition in a unique space-time called P314, a place full of limitless potential where dreams can come true. Female participants from all over the world, aged 19 and older, were invited to apply through the official TikTok and Instagram channels of Time Turner until September 18th. Those who passed the preliminary auditions began their activities on TikTok in October, and the show officially kicked off on TikTok Live on November 8th, 2024. Time Turner already had an interesting premise, especially as it was said to be based only on global fan votes, which created a lot of excitement among fans. However, what really took the show to the next level in terms of hype were the official contestants, many of whom were already well known in the K-pop industry. One such contestant was Lia Navab Hyuning. While her younger siblings, Hyuning Kai of TXT and Bahia of Kepler, are both established K-pop idols with growing fan bases, Lia was actually the first to make her debut in 2017 as a member of the girl group Viva. She spent about a year as an active idol until the group quietly disbanded in 2018 with no official statement from the agency. Despite the setback, Lia didn't fade from the spotlight. Instead, she continued to build her presence as a YouTuber, TikToker, singer, model, and even an MC. In November 2022, she made her solo debut with the single A Good Day to Love, and she frequently appeared in fun TikToks and dance challenges alongside her siblings. But the real buzz around her began in April when news broke that she had signed with PI Corporation. It was later confirmed that she would be joining Time Turner as a contestant, making fans giddy about seeing her on stage again. Fast forward to the day the first episode of Time Turner aired, and let's just say it didn't take long for viewers to spot a number of issues. Right from the start, many fans were not happy with how the eliminations were handled, particularly because they happened so early in the show. What made it worse was that the rules around the voting gifts weren't explained until after the first contestant performed, and sadly, she was eliminated immediately after. Usually, K-pop survival shows build up excitement with something like a signal song mission, where contestants battle it out for the center position, something fans look forward to and enjoy. But with Time Turner, the show released a very short signal song before the show even premiered, which pretty much fizzled out any excitement that viewers might have had about it. Fans were left feeling confused and disappointed, and the energy quickly went up in smoke before it even really started. Many were also shocked to see that a significant number of contestants didn't sing for their first performance, and 12 out of the 18 contestants only danced. Fans were particularly concerned because Time Turner was supposed to launch a K-pop group where strong singing and dancing are typically essential. However, some of the trainees on the show didn't seem to excel in basically any of those areas, raising doubts about what the show was really about. Were they aiming to debut well-rounded idols or just create influencers given their focus on dancing while overlooking vocals and other skills that idols should have? Speaking of issues, the show's voting process certainly raised a lot of questions and concerns. Fans were especially taken aback when they discovered that, rather than using a dedicated website or app for voting like every other survival show did, Time Turner relied on the free-to-use Google Forms platform. For many, this immediately felt unprofessional. Some viewers even went as far as to call it a scam, believing that such an informal voting system couldn't possibly guarantee fairness or accuracy. As if that wasn't enough, it was revealed that the votes with the most influence weren't even those from regular fans submitting their picks. Instead, the most significant votes came from TikTok Live gifts. For those who don't know, these are virtual items that viewers can buy with real money to show support for their favorite contestants. The pop-up appearance of TikTok Live gifts on screen during the contestants' performances made the whole show seem pretty cheap. Viewers couldn't help but feel that these distractions took away from the seriousness of the competition. And instead of focusing on the contestants' abilities, it felt more like an advertisement for TikTok's virtual gift system. The worst part is that the contestants didn't even know about this. During one of her live streams, Dahlia, who was one of the participants on the show, made a shocking revelation that she had no idea that votes would be based on paid gifts. She immediately apologized to her fans, expressing regret and even telling them they didn't have to vote if they felt uncomfortable with the system. This raised even more eyebrows, with fans questioning just how much of the competition was really about talent and how much was influenced by who could afford to spend more money. It also brought attention to the overall low-budget feel of the show, which failed to give viewers the impression of an authentic, high-quality survival show. As a viewer put it best, cheap sets, cheap filming and streaming, no judges, hosts begging for TikTok gifts, the list goes on. They even described described it as feeling more like a mockery of a survival show than a serious platform for launching talented and capable idols. In addition to all the obvious issues, the contestants also failed to leave a positive impression on netizens. As mentioned, fans were especially thrilled at the idea of Leah's return to the spotlight, as they had long hoped for her to debut again. However, public opinion quickly shifted after the show premiered. Despite Leah's prior experience as an idol and trainee, she found herself among the most criticized contestants, with many feeling she appeared unprepared for the show. Clips of her and another contestant named Cleo performing ITZY's Untouchable went viral across social media for all the wrong reasons. Netizens quickly pointed out how Leah seemed to struggle with the choreography as she forgot most of the dance moves. While she is primarily known for her singing talent, even her vocal performances left much to be desired. Some still believe there may be potential for her to improve, but as more unflattering clips of her circulated, many fans went as far as to openly admit they now regret ever wishing for her to debut again. However, when it comes to the title of the most disliked contestant, there's no doubt that Kelly Kim takes the crown. Born in 1998, Kelly first rose to fame as an influencer and has since gathered a whopping 5.9 million followers on TikTok. However, as the show progressed and the rankings were revealed, the viewers grew more and more dissatisfied. That was because of Kelly Kim's consistent presence at the top of the ranks despite her lackluster performance and exaggerated expressions, making her a target of widespread criticism. Furthermore, Kelly Kim appeared to be signed under the same company responsible for producing the show, PI Corporation, as listed with her professional affiliations on her Instagram profile. This connection between Kelly's agency and the show's funding raised suspicions that she may have been receiving an advantage. The show's much-awaited finale aired on November 22nd, which was also when things truly took a dramatic turn. During the episode, the group's official name was revealed to be I.MET.U, and the final 5 members were announced. Lea Navab-Hyuning claimed the 5th spot, with Indonesian contestants Cleo, Lu Yuting from China, and South Korean Sim Ye-rin filling the remaining positions. However, everyone was truly shell-shocked when it was announced that not only was Kelly Kim going to debut, but she also came in first place. This sparked major criticism, even from those who hadn't followed the show closely. In survival shows, it's common for fans to debate rankings, but it's definitely rare for the #1 pick to be someone viewers believe doesn't deserve a spot in the group at all. Because of this, fans of Time Turner took to social media to express their frustration with Kelly Kim and the show, sharing clips of what they described as her poor performances to prove that she didn't deserve to be a member. They also labeled her as a dozen, which is a slang term used to imply that Kelly neither sings nor dances well, and that she was unqualified as an idol in general. From accusations of pretty privilege to claims of favoritism, Kelly is still receiving backlash even though Time Turner has long ended. While some fans continue to support her, many are still unconvinced about her abilities, questioning whether the final lineup truly showcases the most talented individuals. One comment pointed out that at least 4 out of 5 are good. Kelly Kim would have to do a complete 180 transformation and be the hardest worker I've ever seen for me to change my mind about her. In contrast, the majority of viewers congratulated Sim Ye-rin, who had been initially eliminated from Time Turner, but earned her way back into the competition after winning the comeback round. Regardless of how the situation unfolds, the backlash surrounding the show's voting system and the final rankings has certainly made an impact. Now all eyes are on the group's upcoming debut, which is scheduled for the first half of 2025, with fans eagerly waiting to see how Kelly and the others will perform on the stage. Yet the real story began after the show, when its chosen group faced their own struggles. As unfortunate as it is, Time Turner didn't really live up to its promises and people's expectations. What was supposed to be a revolutionary K-pop survival show taking place entirely on TikTok turned into a huge fiasco. From low-budget productions, lackluster performances, and widely disliked members, I.MET.U are likely to pay the price. Time Turner was supposed to revolutionize K-pop survival shows by taking on the format of a live group survival show that officially kicked off on TikTok on November 8th, 2024. Due to its never-seen-before format, many fans were excited to tune in, and Time Turner was expected to be a huge hit. The show promised to be based only on global fan votes, which stirred a lot of anticipation among fans. On top of that, many official contestants in the survival show were already well known in the K-pop industry. One of them was Lea Navab-Hyuning, the oldest sibling of Hyuning Kai from TXT and Bahia from Kepler, who are both very well-known idols. What many fans probably didn't know was that Lea was the first out of the siblings to make her debut in 2017 as a member of the girl group group Viva. Despite the group disbanding in 2018, Leah continued her career on YouTube and TikTok, as well as taking up many singing and modeling opportunities. She made her solo debut in November of 2022 with the song A Good Day to Love, and when the news about her participating in Time Turner was released, Leah's fans were ecstatic to see her perform on stage again. Unfortunately, Time Turner fell pretty flat from the very beginning. Many viewers thought it was strange that the survival show ended in November, the same month it began, since survival shows tend to go on longer than that. Some netizens claimed that the company was simply milking the survival show trend just to debut their girl group without knowing anything about what it takes to run a survival show. Many K-pop survival shows build up tension and excitement to keep the viewers interested by placing eliminations further into the show, but when it comes to Time Turner, the eliminations happened pretty early in the show. Because of this, there wasn't enough time for the viewers and fans to get to know all of the contestants and pick their favorites since they were eliminated so early on. Another thing that irked the fans a lot was the fact that only a handful out of the 18 contestants actually sang, with the remaining 12 girls opting to only dance. A user on Twitter pointed out the inconsistencies in the audio quality. The user noticed it when some of the girls who were singing didn't sound so well, but suddenly sounded amazing when they were introducing themselves. Some netizens compared the group as a bunch of influencers lip-syncing and dancing to songs. Many fans thought that the show didn't even feel like a real survival show. What made the overall show seem very low budget was the fact that during the performances, TikTok live GIFs appeared on the screen. It was also revealed that the votes that were the most crucial to the show came from the TikTok live GIFs, which viewers paid for with their real money. A user on Reddit alleged that some people spent hundreds of dollars worth of GIFs during those streams, which is a monthly wage for a lot of people. This was kept secret from the contestants, and when one of them, Dahlia, found out about it, she apologized to her fans and assured them that they didn't have to vote if they didn't have the means to. Additionally, many fans felt like the entire show was a huge scam since it didn't even have an actual website to vote through. Instead, fans were made to vote through Google Forms, which are free to use. Overall, many fans thought that this show couldn't even be considered a survival show due to the low effort and even lower quality, and the fact that even though Time Turner was supposed to be a survival show, there were no mentors to guide these contestants through the show and share their experiences and wisdom. Despite all the ups and downs of the show, the final episode of the show introduced the winning group, I.MET.U, consisting of the members Leah, Cleo, Lu Yuting, Sim Yerin, and Kelly Kim. But what was supposed to be a joyous moment for the group was instead met with a lot of criticism from fans and netizens. Because of the disastrous show itself and the problematic members within the group, many fans and netizens are wondering if this group is even going to be able to withstand the pressure of the K-pop industry, and if they truly have what it takes to make it in the already saturated K-pop scene. One of the biggest problems that people had with the group was actually the inclusion of one of the members. Then Kelly Kim secured her first place in the show. Most of the viewers and fans were shocked to say the least. Kelly's dancing and singing skills were heavily scrutinized since the beginning of the show, and many people were sure that she didn't even deserve to be in the group in the first place. A lot of the viewers didn't like the vibe she was giving off during her performances, claiming that she seemed sure of her debut even though she didn't have the skills necessary to be an idol. It's being thought that this could potentially harm the group's future, as having a member who isn't liked by many people isn't ideal, and people don't really tend to support someone they don't like. A user on Twitter pointed out that Kelly would have to do a complete 180 transformation and work herself to the bone for them to change their mind about her. Additionally, a user on Reddit shared their thoughts on Kelly and wrote that while she is exceptionally pretty, she doesn't really bring anything to the table and she hasn't managed to showcase her true talents. Some netizens even went as far as to wonder if Kelly ending up in the first place could be a case of favoritism. Kelly seems to be under the same company that took part in creating Time Turner, which is PI Corporation. Netizens thought it was quite strange that the girls who ended up in the final lineup all had a lot of followers on TikTok, which only added to the speculations that the production team decided to choose these girls to gather popularity and traction to the show. Another user on Reddit alleged that the show was only a way for the company to collect money for the group's debut, adding that they invited former K-pop idols like Leah to gain more publicity, as well as relying on popular members like Leah and Kelly to gather money to promote the group. Speaking of Leah, netizens' previous excitement of Leah being in the show slowly disappeared as the show progressed and the public sentiment shifted for the worse. Her singing skills weren't met with a lot of enthusiasm, as they fell a little flat for some of the viewers. Many of them kept their hopes up because Leah seemed to have a lot of potential and could train hard enough to become an amazing singer and dancer. However, most viewers weren't so hopeful about Leah though, and confessed that they regretted wishing for her to debut again. Specifically, Leah and Cleo's performance of ITZY's Untouchable was the last straw for many. Despite her experience in the industry, many viewers of the show thought that she wasn't prepared for her performances at all. A commenter on Reddit wondered if Leah's debut was already guaranteed, which is why she didn't seem to put a lot of effort into her performances. They also added that the show shouldn't have been presented as a survival show, but making it a pre-debut show might have been a better option. On top of the negative perception of the group from netizens, the show was also accused of being rigged and manipulated, and these accusations could do some serious damage to the group. A user on Twitter who allegedly worked with the management team for the show shared their side of the story, claiming they have experience in the entertainment industry and have many contacts who provided them with reliable information. Allegedly, the show used certain contestants to rank up views and popularity. The user went on to claim that the entire show was a setup that would allow them to debut a group under their own company. Apparently, if they hadn't debuted the group through the survival show, the group wouldn't have gained a lot of success as the company didn't have enough funds and resources. The user made another surprising claim in their statement. Apparently, the contestants kept on coming and leaving, and the girls who made it into I.MET.U weren't even in the official lineup and were allegedly just last-minute replacements. According to the netizen, the audio, microphones, voice pitches, and background tracks were all manipulated off-camera. They finished off their statement by claiming the show was a scam and that both the production team and the show itself should have been cancelled. Considering everything that happened, many fans expected that the girls would continue to work hard so they could make their official debut in the future. Unfortunately, on January 16th, it was announced that Lu Yuting would be leaving the group, which steered the debut off course. The decision came after long discussions between PI Corporation and Lu Yuting, who decided not to continue working with the group to pursue other dreams. The announcement sparked a lot of buzz among netizens, and most of them are not optimistic at all. Some fans are convinced that the group is not going to debut at all and that they were doomed to fail from the very beginning. A few of them even went as far as claiming the group was a money laundering scheme or that it was nothing but a huge scam for the company to cash people out of their money and bring attention to something that was never going to work out from the beginning. This is why it was generally thought that Yuting's decision to part ways with the group and the company was a good decision for her and wished her lots of luck in the future. While it would be great if the girls managed to turn this situation around and make something great out of something bad, a lot of people are convinced that the group is headed towards its inevitable end. Users on Reddit wondered if this group is ever going to be taken seriously and will be able to withstand the competitive K-pop industry since Time Turner didn't really set them up for a smooth and thriving career. Can the group push past these challenges, or will these issues hold them back for good? Share what you think in the comments. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, there's one show that many fans still call the absolute lowest point in survival show history. While Korean survival shows often have a reputation for being inhumane, Starlight Boys appears to have set a new low in mistreating its trainees. With reports of alleged xenophobia and incidents leading to hospitalization during challenges, it has quickly gained a reputation as one of the worst survival shows, even after just 2 episodes. The survival show Starlight Boys, a South Korean Chinese production, quickly grabbed attention thanks to its star-studded mentor lineup featuring Big Bang's Dae-sung, singer-actor Lee Seung-gi, former IZ*ONE member Eunbi, Pentagon's Hwee, The Boys' Eric, and Stacy's Yoon. The mentors weren't the only impressive thing about the show, as the contestant list includes Lee Da-ul and Kang B from Boys Planet, a few trainees from Youth With You, and Lee Hang-yul, a former member of X1. It officially premiered on October 26th, with 68 trainees from all over the world aiming to form a boy group from the top 9 contestants. The lineup, combined with the premise, had viewers excited to see what everyone had to offer. That was until the show started, at least. The controversy sparked right from the first episode when Japanese-American trainee Show teamed up with Japanese trainee Ryo Kai-2 to perform AB6IX's Breathe. The team delivered a great performance, both as a team and individually. Watching the two on stage together, you would think that they would be showered with praise from the mentors, but the reality couldn't be any different as Show received no stars. Seemingly disappointed by the whole thing, guider Choi Young-jun mentioned that Show didn't even have the foundational dancing skills, as he expected the trainee to be a great dancer too. In response, Show explained that he had never received any dance training and that this was his first attempt at singing and dancing at the same time. The other trainees were especially impressed by Show's dancing skills, especially since he had no formal training. However, Young-jun was uncertain if Show could handle all the challenges and missions relying solely on his passion. After the guiders have a discussion amongst themselves, mostly about his potential, Show receives no stars while Ryo gets one. Thankfully, Show doesn't seem demotivated by the whole thing, promising to do his best, but viewers were furious, especially at the double standards that were displayed in the show. The very next person person who performed was Kim Song-ju, and even though the guiders had just seen him walk, they were already discussing his charm and potential. During his introduction, Song-ju mentioned that he is a model and has no prior experience in singing or dancing, which is similar to Sho's situation. This becomes obvious when Song-ju begins singing Winner's Dorari. His movements appear awkward as he mostly walks on stage, incorporating only small parts of the choreography. The judges even note that his performance seems more like walking than dancing, leading viewers to believe he might receive a rating similar to Sho's. Even the other trainees talk amongst themselves about how Song-ju would receive no stars. So imagine everyone's shock when he ends up getting 1 star just because they thought he was cute. When the mentors were discussing the rankings with each other, Lee Seung-gi briefly thought about giving him 0 stars due to his skills, but Dae-sung interjected, reminding them they were looking for idols. He argued that while Sho was meant to be an artist, Song-ju had the qualities of an idol and the potential to succeed in that role, which is something that can't be taught. So in the end, he ends up receiving 1 star, with Choi Young-jun mentioning that he has a lot of potential and that he should work hard to make up for it. Viewers were completely shocked by this. Ryo and Sho, both amateurs in this craft, delivered a solid performance, with Sho even being one of the better vocalists out of the contestants. It also became clear that with a lot of dedication and hard work, they could become incredible performers and idols. But unfortunately, the judges failed to consider the potential in Sho's case and just looked at his current skills, which were still much better than those of Song-ju's. While it's normal for survival shows to be tough on the contestants, fans accused the judges of xenophobia. A Twitter user mentioned, "The fact they graded him 0 stars because they expected someone with that face to be good at dancing, but he didn't live up to our expectations is just xenophobia." Another commenter noted that when a Chinese group performed a cute song but delivered an average performance, the judges criticized them, insisting that being an idol involves more than just being cute. To viewers and critics, it appeared that the trainees were being evaluated based on their nationality and skin color rather than their actual skills. A third Twitter user expressed frustration, pointing out that it was unfair for the judges to say someone wasn't as good as they expected, especially since they didn't know him or his skill level at all. Unfortunately, this isn't the only issue that people had with the judges, even Stacy's Yoon. Before this show, Yoon was one of the most beloved idols in the industry, known for her soft personality. However, the public's perception of her seemingly changed with only 1 episode. In this episode, the group showcased their performances in front of some of the mentors. After one team finished, the other contestants began to clap, but Yoon looked confused and asked why they were applauding. A clip of this moment went viral on social media, with viewers criticizing Yoon for being too harsh on the trainees. Netizens noted that the judges seem to nitpick at everything just so they can feel some sense of superiority over the trainees, with one of them writing, "All these judges are just using this show as an intense power trip. The clips I've seen from this all are disgusting. Some viewers said they were once fans of Yoon but changed their minds after this episode." They felt her behavior was unwarranted, arguing that she lacked the industry experience to act as a mentor in this competition or to be so harsh with the trainees. One user even suggested that she was projecting her own traumas onto the trainees, wishing that she would empathize with their struggles more. On the other hand, people said that Yoon was being unfairly criticized over a 10-second clip. Some viewers felt her comment was reasonable and not as bad as it was made out to be, believing that the performance the trainees applauded didn't deserve much praise. Others argued that, while Yoon might have come across as harsh, the level of hate she's receiving on social media, particularly Instagram, is unwarranted and unnecessary. Along with threats to her life, she's being bombarded with insults and blamed for things beyond her control. Many also suggested that the show is likely heavily scripted, making the backlash against Yoon feel even more nonsensical. As noted by one user, these judges had served as mentors on other survival shows without being nearly as harsh, leading people to believe that the producers may have instructed them to act tougher to draw public attention. But even if Starlight Boys was indeed scripted, it wouldn't change the fact that most people are comparing it to Squid Game rather than a survival show. In the second episode, all the contestants were instructed to dance on stage together so they could get evaluated by the mentors. Instead of taking turns with breaks, all the trainees started dancing to the signal song at once. Out of the 68, only 56 would advance, but until they were chosen, each contestant had to keep dancing to the song with just 30-second breaks between rounds. As trainees were gradually picked, breaks grew slightly longer. However, those chosen last ended up dancing through 19 rounds, nearly an hour of continuous dancing given the song's length. Some of the trainees, overwhelmed with exhaustion, began gasping for air, collapsing, and breaking down both physically and emotionally. As the rounds went on, it became too much for many trainees, and trainee Soon Ying-hao had to call out for a break, calling out to the producers and reminding them that they were human, not machines. Challenges like this can be compared to interval training used by athletes, where they alternate between sprinting and resting, often jogging slowly instead of stopping completely. However, it's obvious that the trainees trainees weren't ready for it, and the goal of the challenge seemed more focused on entertaining the audience rather than helping them improve as artists or performers. Many people even questioned the challenge's purpose, with one user noting that there are 68 trainees spread across 3 floors, but only 7 mentors to watch them. They argued that it was impossible for all trainees to get proper attention, meaning some would inevitably be ignored while still having to dance repeatedly, wasting their energy just to remain unseen. It was reported that some trainees even had to go to the hospital because of this part of the competition. Moreover, Lee Seung-gi's reaction to the trainees' exhaustion escalated the situation and fueled fans' anger even more. When Soon Ying-hao urged the others to stop because of the challenge's impact on their health, Lee Seung-gi responded by acknowledging Ying-hao's concern but emphasized that the goal was to demonstrate the trainees' dedication. He even likened the challenge to a concert, saying that idols usually have to perform about 30 songs, so not going through with this would deprive the audience of witnessing a performer's enthusiasm. Lee Seung-gi's response to the contestants' struggles, as they were pushing through just to avoid elimination, upset many viewers. For a challenge that left multiple trainees hospitalized and even brought some to tears as they watched their exhausted peers struggle, it's hard to understand why Lee Seung-gi thought it was a worthwhile idea. By not performing their entire set continuously, they avoid exhausting themselves, overheating, or collapsing, so Lee Seung-gi's argument doesn't really make sense here. The other judges are also facing criticism for not advocating for the trainees or calling for an end to the challenge. Even if the show is scripted, many believe they should have at least spoken up when they saw them collapsing on stage. As of now, there are only 2 episodes out, but there's already so much controversy that viewers and fans of the trainees are already calling for a boycott. From their perspective, backing the show means that they're supporting the mistreatment and struggles the participants are facing in pursuit of their dreams. They believe the only way to address this issue is to demonstrate to the producers that such harsh treatment of the contestants won't be tolerated. But the darkest stories often involve the youngest contestants, and one program crossed every line imaginable. Many K-pop survival shows have been criticized for mistreating their contestants, pushing them too far, and using unsafe practices, but Under 15 has taken things to an extreme with its deeply unsettling concept. Featuring children as young as 8, putting them in inappropriate outfits, and having them perform dances far too mature for their age, this show has become one of the most controversial and harmful in K-pop history. Under 15 is the newest survival show on the K-pop market, and it does exactly what it says. It has trainees under the age of 15 competing for a chance of debuting. News of the survival show first broke in June last year, with MBN announcing a new audition program led by PD So Hye-jin, the mastermind behind Miss Trot and Mr. Trot. Given her track record of success, many were eager to see what she had planned. That excitement quickly turned to concern when details about the show's contestants were revealed. Turns out that the program was set to feature children as young as 3 years old, with the goal of debuting a group even younger than the New Jeans were at their debut. In an interview with Sports Seoul, the PD confirmed that the show was on track for a late 2024 release, as the auditions had already wrapped up in Korea, and the casting team was expanding their search across Asia. Naturally, she was asked why the show was focusing on such young trainees. Her response? She believed the growing popularity of younger idols reflected what audiences wanted. She cited her experience with Korea Japan King of Singers, where teenage contestants with distinct vocal styles received strong support, reinforcing her belief that industry trends had shifted toward favoring younger performers. She said, "It seems like the pure emotions unique to teenagers have captivated the audience. Perhaps viewers are now looking for untainted talents as the world becomes more complex and difficult to navigate." As expected, the public response was overwhelmingly negative, with many expressing outrage and disgust. The PD was widely criticized, with some calling her approach unsettling and out of touch. Many argued that she had completely missed the point of what made New Jeans successful. One commenter summed up the frustration, pointing out that New Jeans' appeal wasn't just about their age, it was the creative direction, music, and the members' unique charms that set them apart. The idea of fixating on how young a group should be felt deeply unsettling to many, with some saying the show was crossing a line that shouldn't be pushed. People also criticized the idea of blindly following audience trends without questioning whether those trends were appropriate. Many argued that just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right to pursue it. As one user put it, "The audience could have an insatiable appetite for molka. That doesn't mean you cater to those people's tastes and make a concept that centers around that." People were horrified at the thought of pushing children children as young as 3 into the public eye, calling it outright exploitation and calling for its cancellation. Despite the backlash, the show moved forward anyway. On February 14th, it was confirmed to premiere at the end of March, though few details were shared. The first teaser then dropped on March 10th, featuring the young contestants dancing while the show promoted them as the next big thing in K-pop. According to the caption of the post, the program was officially scheduled to premiere on March 31st. The caption on the Instagram post read, "Are you curious about the main character of the 5th generation global girl group debut?" This is when netizens' disturbance reached an all-time high. The contestants were dancing to Megan Thee Stallion's Her, which was already controversial enough due to its lyrics. In the video, the girls are seen dressed in sheer outfits and crop tops with heavy makeup that makes them look older than they were. Some even performed with expressions and movements that felt far too mature. It's no surprise that netizens were outraged, criticizing the show for how it presented minors. Many argued that if the show was truly meant for children, there were plenty of ways to make it fun, youthful, and innocent. Instead of revealing outfits like crop tops and sheer clothing, the contestants would instead be dressed in colorful covered outfits that highlighted their youthful charm, which is the opposite of what the show did. Even if they chose that route, a survival show featuring girls under 15 still poses huge risks. The emotional toll and pressure from being judged by both experts and the public would be overwhelming for such young contestants. Criticism was also directed at the parents who allowed their children to join the program. People were shocked by how these parents, especially in the entertainment industry, could let their kids be part of such a controversial show. While it may offer fame and money, many questioned whether it was worth the potential harm. As a commenter put it best, "The parents of these little ones need some psych assessments and like a few hot minutes in jail along with the producers of the show. What a flaming creep fest." While kids under 15 may dream of being idols, there are safer ways to pursue that, like participating in talent shows or dance classes without facing harsh scrutiny. Alternatively, the show could have used an AI avatar system like Plave, sparing the kids from direct exposure to people who may not have the best intentions. The involvement of idols like Big Bang's Daesung, Kara's Youngji, former X1 member Dongpyo, Oh My Girl's Hyeon, and To Anyone's Dara as judges on the show also sparked criticism. To some people, the fact that they agreed to be part of the show made them question whether they supported its controversial nature and concept. Dara especially faced backlash due to her recent admission of dating a much younger person when she was 19 and he was 14, making her role as a judge even more troubling. Things took a turn for the worse on March 12th when the show released the contestants' details, including their ages, nationalities, and roles like vocals or performance. While none were actual 3-year-olds, it was still shocking to see how many were as young as 8 or 9. Out of the 59 contestants, a significant portion fell into a troubling age range. 9 were born in 2009, 4 in 2010, 11 in 2011, 20 in 2012 and 2013, 6 in 2014, 4 in 2015, and 5 were just 8 years old, born in 2016. Additionally, a second teaser was released showing the contestants getting their makeup done for their introductory photos. Their names and ages were displayed on screen, but what really caught attention was how young they looked. It made many people understandably uncomfortable, especially considering the industry they were entering. The second part of the video was even more disturbing as it transitioned from the girls looking their age to trying to appear much older during their photo shoot, performing some questionable dance moves. Comments from Korean netizens reflected what we were all thinking as they said things like, "Shouldn't this be reported to the police?" and "Stop doing this disgusting stuff." While it's not new or shocking for K-pop to feature minors in groups or survival shows, Wonyoung being a clear example, under 15 crosses a major line. The disturbing part is the show's focus on children as young as 8, making the fact that they're minors a central theme. It feels like the producers are banking on their youth to draw in viewers, which is concerning because it's unclear who this is appealing to, raising alarms about the type of audience it might attract. Based on the teasers, outfits, and photo shoots we've seen, it's clear they know how dangerous this is for the kids and the audience they're marketing them to. They just don't care. This situation is made even more concerning when considering the recent controversy involving actor Kim Soo-hyun and his past relationship with the late actress Kim Se-ron. Soo-hyun was accused of dating Se-ron from when she was only 15 and he was 27. The two were said to have been together for 6 years, with Soo-hyun reportedly being the one to pursue her and influencing her career choices, including leaving YG Entertainment for his own agency. Then, when Se-ron's career ended in 2022 due to a DUI scandal, Soo-hyun's agency, Gold Medalist, co-founded by Soo-hyun and his cousin, paid for the damages but later asked Se-ron to repay the money. When Se-ron reached out for an explanation, she was allegedly ignored and ghosted by Soo-hyun. This lack of support, combined with other issues, led to Se-ron tragically taking her own life earlier this year on Soo-hyun's birthday. Her story is deeply tied to the pressure she faced at such a young age, having started her career when she was just a baby. Her first photo shoot at just 1 year old 8-year-old and her first role at 9, which would make her only a year older than the youngest contestant on Under 15. This recent revelation also sheds light on the dangers young people face in the entertainment industry, where they often enter environments that don't prioritize their well-being. Her experience shows how the pressure of public life at a young age can lead to manipulation and emotional harm, especially when industry figures use their influence to make decisions that don't always have the child's best interests at heart. In her case, Soo-hyun's alleged control over her career decisions is a clear example of how young talent, particularly girls, are vulnerable to exploitation. Given all the concerns about the show, K-pop fans have urged everyone to completely ignore it and avoid hate watching, hoping to send a clear message to the producers. They believe that if the show tanks with low viewership and heavy criticism, MBN might reconsider its decision to air such a problematic program. The most effective way to make a real impact is to treat the show as if it doesn't exist, since the producers are solely focused on profits and viewership. If the show doesn't attract enough attention and fails to meet its viewership goals, there's a strong chance it will be pulled from the air. By refusing to engage, whether through watching, discussing, or even sharing it, the public can send a clear and powerful message that this kind of exploitation is not acceptable. This collective action is crucial because it's the only way to shield these vulnerable young contestants from further harm and force the industry to reconsider how it treats minors in the entertainment world. But when it comes to betrayal, nothing compares to the scandals that prove just how rigged these shows can really be. The K-pop industry has had some shocking scandals over the years, but most of them don't even come close to the vote manipulation scandals that got revealed. Produce X 101. Everyone who watched the Produce series can tell that even if the show is marketed as a fair competition between the contestants, there's still some favoritism going on. The producers try to influence the viewers' preferences by other tactics, such as giving more screen time to some contestants and completely ignoring the others, or making some trainees look nicer while evil editing the others and making the public dislike them. Even though the producers assured the viewers and the public that trainees are going to get all treated fairly, it didn't happen. But it was no surprise since it's a standard practice for reality shows, but it turns out that preferences weren't the only thing that they were manipulating. After the show ended, viewers noticed some inconsistencies in the final votes of the show. More specifically, some of the rankings were multiples of 7,949. MNET responded to the accusations and acted shocked at the claims that they might have rigged the final votes. They said, "It's even weird for us to confirm or deny rumors about rigging the votes from a live broadcast. We have no reason to manipulate the votes. We decided to not make an official statement because we feel that in itself will cause more issues." They did admit that while there were some errors in calculation, the final rankings were correct. MNET also tried to hide the data in order to protect X1 and said that they had no intentions of changing the lineup, but it was proven unsuccessful as the issue only grew bigger and bigger. This led to MNET inviting the police to look at all the inconsistencies. They'd regret their words not soon after, as their invitation blew up in their faces hilariously. The police concluded their investigation by finding evidence of definite vote manipulation as they uncovered voice recordings of MNET staff members having a discussion about rigging the votes on the other seasons of the show. On October 1st, 2019, the Seoul Metropolitan Police Academy gave a confirmation that MNET added the votes from the eliminated trainees to the total votes of the X1 members that ended up debuting. The vote manipulation affected 2 to 3 trainees that were in the top 11. There were also other instances of unfairness that were revealed, like how some staff members forced the song producers to give the trainees they favored more lines and more screen time. Someone even alleged that a certain trainee was informed about a mission in advance by one of the choreographers. It also turns out that only one offsite producer was in charge of counting the votes in a separate room, and the final results were sent to the others through text message. Yeah, not shady whatsoever. 2 of the MNET producers that were involved in the rigging were arrested in 2019, and in 2020, they were found guilty of manipulating the final votes of some contestants. But Produce wasn't the only MNET show that came under suspicion of manipulation. Idol School. If y'all thought that Produce X 101 was rigged, wait until you hear about what they did with Idol School. When MNET started getting investigated for vote manipulation, the police expanded their investigation to other MNET survival shows in case there were any other instances of this. Though police didn't really have to intervene for the viewers to notice that something was up with the number of votes. For example, throughout the run of Idol School, Hyeon was undoubtedly one of the most popular contestants. She was so popular that she ranked in the top 2 positions for several weeks. It started getting suspicious once her position suddenly dropped. Very dramatically at that. In episode 6, she ended up being a part of the top 9 ranking and was eliminated in the finale of the show. It's not very unnatural for contestants to drop in rankings, but how does someone that ranked first for so many weeks be eliminated by the last episode? Doesn't make sense whatsoever. Netizens were so angry over it that they made a petition so they'd find out the truth about her elimination. They had every right to be suspicious though. Kang came out and told a donga Ilbo reporter, the show initially promoted fairness, but in actuality, it manipulated many aspects of the competition throughout filming. She also said that 8 out of the 9 trainees that were set to debut from Promise 9 had signed contracts with CJ before they even began shooting the show. She went on to say, "At first, I didn't know that when we began shooting, but after being on the show for more than 5 months, I found out because the trainees who signed with CJ were telling the other contestants about their contracts." She also said that she was one of the 4 trainees that actually had to audition, and even though the show's producer had told her that she was too well known to audition, she still should since it would be too suspicious if she didn't. The rigging was much bigger than this though. A report said, "In a survival-style music show that is selecting girl group members from episodes 2 to 11, the rankings were manipulated 233 times in total." Yes, a total of 233 times. Not only that, but there were 10 trainees who were eliminated even though they didn't deserve to be. The report went on, "When the 4th eliminations were announced, 10 trainees who were subject to elimination remained in the competition, while 10 trainees who were supposed to stay in the competition were unfairly eliminated. The scandal went down in history as one of the worst in the K-pop industry, and it ended up hurting not only Hyeon, but the girls that debuted from Promise 9 too. It was really bad for everyone." MMA manipulation. There are too many instances of this for me to talk about every single one individually, but I will talk about MNET's grudge against SM Entertainment and their artists. This started back in 2009 when SNSD was topping every music chart with G, so people automatically assumed that the song would win the Song of the Year award at the MNET Asian Music Awards, yet 21 ended up getting the award for I Don't Care. Now, don't get me wrong, I Don't Care is still a timeless hit, but based on all the numbers, G had that award in the bag. But back in 2009, there wasn't as much outrage about the rigging as later on, so it didn't become a big deal. Then in 2015, the same thing happened, but now with EXO and Big Bang. In 2015, EXO's noticed EXO's votes decreasing rapidly while Big Bang's is increased. The process for Chinese fans to vote was also a bit more difficult, as voting for EXO required putting a verification code, which didn't happen for other artists. The numbers just weren't adding up. In response to these accusations, MNET had said, "You think that 1,000 votes in 1 minute are a lot, but the whole world is voting for this, and there are more than 1 million votes per day. 1,000 votes in 1 minute is not a lot. Also, Big Bang is a big group and they have a big fandom. If they vote together at a similar time, it's possible." As for the response, a netizen commented, "How does it make sense that they can only vote for once in 3 to 4 hours? They say it takes time because of the code verification. This is honestly so unfair. I don't care if other singers also require code verification, but EXO is the only one." Another said, "Wow, EXOs must be so mad. I still remember what VIP said when there were manipulation posts. You thought you wouldn't lose with the votes. Are you mad because you're actually losing?" Though none of this was as bad as the vote manipulation that happened at MAMA 2017. EXO was leading with votes in 5 fan-voted categories out of all 19 categories they were nominated in, and do you know how many awards they ended up winning? Just 1. Literally only 1 award. MAMA treated EXO so badly that they never attended the show again. Good for them, honestly. Music bank vote manipulation. This one is pretty recent, so you might have heard about it already. Back on May 13th of 2022, LE SSERAFIM were crowned as the winners of that week's music bank. They beat Lee Myung-won's If We Ever Meet Again by 846 points. Considering how much of a chart monster he is, some raised suspicions about the legitimacy of those votes and accused KBS of rigging the scoring system in LE SSERAFIM's favor. To these accusations, KBS responded with, "The scoring system has 5 categories: digital streaming scores, which accounts for 60%, TV/radio broadcast scores, accounting for 20%, viewer preference scores, accounting for 10%, album sales, accounting for 5%, and social media scores, accounting for 5%. Then Dispatch came out with an investigation of their own, proving that KBS were actually lying or at least trying to hide the facts, or both in this case. Dispatch pointed out that even though KBS claimed If We Ever Meet Again was never played in their radio shows, Dispatch found proof of the opposite. After that, KBS started deleting Lee Myung-won's songs from all the radio playlists that are listed on their official website. Luckily, Dispatch caught on to this and came through with the receipts. They said, "Could it be that on May 18th, KBS realized that the song was in fact played? Did KBS try to delete evidence on the dawn of May 19th, which led to KBS fearing a backlash in the early of May 19th, and so is that why they brought back the playlist in the morning of May 19th? When the investigation came out, KBS tried explaining what had happened, but the public wasn't convinced. In fact, they didn't believe KBS to the point that a netizen filed a complaint with the Core Communication Standards Commission and the National Police Agency and asked for an investigation. Yeah, it was that deep. And it's not just the shows themselves, sometimes the people behind the judging panel spark just as much outrage. K-pop survival shows have launched the careers of some of the biggest idols in the industry, but they've also sparked debates, especially when it comes to the judges. Whether for their brutally honest feedback, questionable decisions, or alleged favoritism, here's a look at the most controversial K-pop judges and their infamous moments. Although survival shows have continued to captivate audiences worldwide, with each new program bringing fresh talent and intense competition, the controversies, however, are never ending. Starting with the most recent was the South Korean Chinese survival show titled Starlight Boys, which made its highly anticipated premiere on both I.MET.U and SBS on October 26, 2024. This competitive reality program followed the intense journey of 69 aspiring trainees, all working hard for the opportunity to secure a spot in the final lineup of a 9-member K-pop boy group. The show not only brought together a diverse group of exceptionally talented trainees, many of whom had previously participated in other well-known survival programs, but it also featured contestants who had already debuted in the industry. In addition to its impressive lineup of contestants, Starlight Boys also assembled a star-studded panel of mentors. While renowned actress Lee Sung-kyung took on the role of MC, the judging panel, also referred to as the Guiders, included a mix of industry veterans and established idols. The lineup featured actor Lee Seung-gi, Big Bang's Dae-sung, renowned choreographer Choi Young-jun, singer and rapper Han-hae, talented soloist Kwon Eun-bi, Pentagon's Hui, The Boys' Eric, and Stacey's Yoon. With such a panel of mentors, the show promised a journey filled with intense competition, high expectations, and challenges that would push trainees to their limits, but for worse. After just the first episode, Starlight Boys quickly found itself at the center of controversy, receiving a wide range of criticism from viewers. One of the biggest points of controversy was the apparent favoritism displayed by the mentors. Despite the show's marketing as a global competition, many fans noticed a clear bias in how the trainees were evaluated. This became especially obvious when a Japanese-American contestant show received no stars, while a Korean trainee, who had never taken dance lessons and relied solely on his looks, was given a star for his supposed potential. Adding to the frustration, Show previously shared that he often faces stereotypes due to being half black, with people expecting him to fit a hip-hop image. Naturally, this didn't sit well with viewers, who quickly called it out and raised concerns about discrimination and xenophobia. One frustrated fan even commented, "The xenophobia is at peaks in this show." Things got even worse in the second episode with the infamous theme song challenge, which felt more like torture than a test. All contestants had to dance on stage for evaluation, but instead of performing one by one, they all had to dance to the signal song at the same time. Only 56 would qualify, and until they were chosen, they had to keep dancing, getting just a 30-second break between rounds. Since the song itself was a few minutes long, this meant nearly an hour of non-stop dancing. By the 12th round, many trainees were visibly exhausted, but mentor Lee Seung-gi dismissed their fatigue, coldly saying they shouldn't be tired yet. When the rounds neared 20, it became painful to watch, and one contestant, Sun Yinghao, finally spoke up, saying they weren't machines and asking for a stop. Lee Seung-gi responded by saying he understood, but insisted the challenge was meant to show who would put in the greatest effort. He even compared it to a concert, claiming that stopping would take away the audience's right to see a singer's eager performance. This quickly backfired, as netizens pointed out that even during concerts, idols are given breaks and encore segments to catch their breath, yet Lee Seung-gi, who isn't even an idol himself, dismissed the trainee's exhaustion. Additionally, his own past came under scrutiny. His well-documented mistreatment under his former agency, Hook Entertainment, led to the creation of the Lee Seung-gi Incident Prevention Act, a law that requires companies to disclose earnings settlements to celebrities at least once a year. It also bans agencies from forcing underage celebrities to excessively manage their appearance or work more than 7 hours a day. Given that some of the trainees on the show were minors, his comment came across as hypocritical rather than insightful, adding even more fuel to the criticism against him. But he wasn't the only mentor to stir controversy, as Stacey's Yoon's comments also put her at the center of the backlash. In one of the episodes, groups performed in front of some of the judges, and after one team's performance, the other contestants in the audience started clapping in support. However, Stacey's Yoon looked at them and questioned, "Why are you applauding?" The rest of the judges then expressed their disappointment in the contestants' performances, but when the clip made its way online, it immediately sparked criticism. Many viewers felt Yoon's remark was needlessly harsh, and the situation escalated as her Instagram was bombarded with hateful comments. While some fans defended her, arguing that the criticism was based on on an out-of-context clip, the majority of comments were overwhelmingly negative. One viewer even compared her behavior to that of a notoriously strict judge, commenting, "I wonder if they told her to play the Simon Cowell role. It seems way over the top." Others expressed frustration, with some questioning whether she was even qualified to judge the contestants in the first place. While many survival show mentors have been criticized for their harsh critiques and questionable behavior, one judge who drew mixed reactions for addressing serious issues in an unusually strict tone was Idol's Soyeon. It all started when MBC's highly anticipated K-pop survival program My Teenage Girl premiered, featuring 83 contestants competing for a spot in the final lineup. While the show itself generated major buzz, Soyeon particularly made headlines for her brutally honest approach to judging. During the first episode, 2 contestants performed Oh My Girls non-stop using traditional Korean fans as props. However, the show's voting system operated differently from most competitions. Contestants first had to pass a blind audience round where they were judged solely on their abilities. If they secured more than 75% of the audience votes, the door separating them from the mentors would open, allowing them to advance to the next stage for direct evaluation. Not so surprisingly, despite their performance being one of the weakest of the day, they successfully won over the audience and advanced to the mentor evaluation stage. When it was time for the mentors to give their feedback, Soyeon of course did not hold back. She started off her evaluation by wondering if the blind round audience evaluators were able to hear the duo's singing abilities clearly, and bluntly stated, "Of all the stages that I've watched today, it was the worst performance I saw. It was so bad, I didn't even get mad." However, in addition to criticizing the contestants, she explained the reason behind her frustration. According to her, many talented trainees had been eliminated before reaching the mentors, while the audience allowed this weaker performance to pass. She then went on to call out the audience members responsible for voting in the blind round, emphasizing that their role was to judge fairly based on skill rather than superficial factors such as looks. After her statement, viewers were unfortunately divided on Soyeon's evaluation. Some praised her honesty and experience, while others found her too harsh. Having faced biases early in her career, Soyeon was also often overlooked due to not fitting traditional idol beauty standards, but her blunt approach might have felt intimidating to contestants. While some admired her focus on talent, others felt her strict tone overshadowed her message. Another survival show judge called out for alleged favoritism was the beloved Korean soloist Boa. She faced heavy criticism as a mentor on Mnet's male dance survival show Street Man Fighter, where she appeared as one of the main judges. The show quickly gained popularity, with fans excited over the teams, impressive dance skills, and reality drama. However, besides Mnet's selection of judges sparking debate, as many netizens were frustrated by idol singers being chosen to judge professional dancers, Boa particularly drew a lot of backlash. It all started when, in one of the episodes, Boa ordered a rematch after a dancer Trix had already won a battle for his group Prime Kings. As a result, Prime Kings was eliminated, but controversy arose when the judges chose to forfeit their votes during one of the rematch battle rounds. Many fans strongly disagreed with this decision, believing the first round had a clear winner. Some even demanded that Prime Kings be brought back while calling for the judges to be removed instead, with one comment questioning, "With what qualifications is Boa a judge?" Adding to the backlash, Boa often joked about feeling scared when dancers fought during battles. She specifically mentioned Trix's fierce crump moves, saying she thought he might hit her or the other contestants. This reaction, combined with her controversial decisions, led to the fans of the dance crews beginning to attack her for allegedly being unfair to the contestants, as this comment said, "They were doing a battle and seeing her going so scary is freaking ridiculous." The backlash escalated to the point where fans began bombarding her with hateful comments on Instagram. Some accused her of flirting with contestants simply for wearing an off-shoulder top, while others went as far as urging her to please just volunteer not to be on the show next time. 17's The 8, who appeared as a producer for the second season of Chung Asia, a survival show aiming to debut a new global group, also faced criticism for his strict evaluation of contestants. During the first episode, participants showcased their skills and were ranked by the mentors, with A being the highest grade. However, many contestants noticed that achieving the top ranking seemed nearly impossible, leading to frustration and negative reactions, with some even feeling that the 8 was a bit too harsh. But when the contestant further challenged the 8, asking why another trainee wasn't awarded an A and what the exact criteria were, the 8 clarified that while he couldn't assess the trainees by strict idol standards, he believed that both singing and dancing were fundamental skills for an idol. Despite some trainees feeling that his judging was too harsh, others acknowledged that the 8, along with fellow mentor Bomb Bomb, had first-hand experience with the cutthroat idol industry, making them somewhat qualified to make such critical remarks. It's also important to remember that these survival programs are heavily edited, with hours or even days of footage condensed into a single episode, and a lot of context, including full judge evaluations, gets cut. While mentors provide both praise and criticism, how it's presented depends on the producers. That is why controversies will always be a part of survival shows, but as long as they spark discussions on fairness and the role of mentors, they remain an important part of the genre. But judges aren't the only part of survival shows that spark debate. What about the contestants who never made it? It's been almost 2 years since the debut Dream Academy ended, and while KATSEYE are thriving and gaining more popularity by the day, the other contestants have all gone their separate ways. So what are the potential members up to nowadays? Brazilian trainee Samara Sequeira easily had the potential to debut, especially since she ended the show ranked 7th, just outside the final group. She had only been with the company for about 2 months before Dream Academy started, but that didn't stop her from standing out. Her stage presence, talent, and especially her close friendship with Lara made her a fan favorite early on, but as the show progressed, controversy started to follow her. People discovered that Samara had allegedly liked several TikTok posts that caused a lot of backlash. Some of those posts were said to include offensive content toward Indians, while others involved political takes about Palestine and Israel, with many accusing the videos of being pro-Israel and using religion to justify the situation. Additionally, people online claimed she was connected to an evangelical church in Brazil that has ties to former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. To make things worse, people pointed out that the church had a history of posting anti-Chinese and anti-Indian rhetoric, adding even more fuel to the conversation around her. Some believe those claims were exaggerated or false, but nothing's been confirmed so far. It didn't take long for people to connect the dots, with speculation growing that this was the real reason Samara didn't make it into the final lineup, though that's never been officially confirmed. As for Samara now, it doesn't look like she's in any rush to debut as an artist. However, she's still active, regularly sharing dance and vocal covers on social media, so it seems like she's keeping her options open for whatever comes next. Ezreela also looked like a strong candidate for the group, especially after ranking 8th on the show. Everyone was impressed by her talent, and with her speaking Japanese, Spanish, and Korean, many thought Hyeop would use that to expand their global reach, but in the end, she didn't make it into the group. That didn't stop her though. In a recent interview, Ezreela shared that she's now focused on studying the music industry at university. She's learning everything from production to marketing because she wants full control over her career. Despite missing out on the debut, she's still working on music, crafting demos with hopes of releasing her first album. But as a self-proclaimed perfectionist, she admits nothing will be released until it meets her high standards. Apparently, her style mixes pop, Indian influences, K-pop, Bollywood, and even video game aesthetics, and honestly, we can't wait to hear what she comes up with. Some of the contestants managed to debut, or at least came pretty close. Hyeon, for example, joined another survival show called Girls on Fire in March 2024, and even placed first in the competition. But despite winning, the group never got to debut because the agency behind the project pulled the plug that December. May had better luck, officially debuting in October 2024 with the group Say My Name. Carly, who was eliminated around the same time as May, took a different path and debuted as a solo artist in April with her first single Little Things. Brooklyn, also eliminated during that same period, actually started her solo career earlier, dropping her debut single Selfish back in March 2023 and continuing to release music since. Ilya has been focusing on solo music too, releasing multiple songs, while others from the show either leaned more into dancing or quietly stepped away from the industry altogether. From the start of the debut Dream Academy, most viewers believed that Lexi was a guaranteed pick for the final lineup. She seemed to have everything going for her. Stunning visuals that perfectly matched East Asian beauty standards, from her skin tone to her facial features and even her vocal tone, which made her easily marketable in both Eastern and Western industries. On top of that, Lexi was incredibly talented, had a strong stage presence, and maintained great relationships with both the other trainees and the staff. It was clear she was well liked, not just by fans, but also by the mentors, Hyeop, Geffen, and even Bang PD himself. That's why, in October 2023, fans were completely blindsided when Lexi suddenly dropped out of the show while it was still airing. According to the official statement, Lexi's time in the competition helped her realize she wanted to pursue a different path, which was music production. They explained that this decision better matched her personal goals, and the Dream Academy team fully respected her choice, thanking fans and the other contestants for all the support she had received. Still, her exit left many fans heartbroken and stunned, especially those who had seen her as a premature debut. One user wrote, "I'm honestly devastated, but I'm glad that Dream Academy has helped her realize that it's not the path she wants to take in her life." Turns out, things behind the scenes were a lot messier than fans originally thought, and Netflix's Pop Star Academy KATSEYE revealed just how complicated it really was, as by episode 7, it became obvious that things weren't working out. The president of Hyeop's Geffen sat down with Lexi and told her it was clear she didn't want to be part of the show anymore, especially after missing more than 10 days of rehearsals, and they decided it was time to let her go. Lexi then opened up about how, ever since the eliminations for Mission 2, the show started to feel more toxic, with the producers turning the atmosphere into something competitive and uncomfortable, almost like they were intentionally creating tension between the girls to make things more dramatic for viewers. She also criticized the way eliminations were handled, explaining that contestants weren't even told face-to-face when they were cut, but rather found out through a robotic voice coming from a TV screen, which made the whole thing feel even colder and more detached. As for what Lexi is doing now, she hasn't completely walked away from music, but it's clear she's determined to do things on her own terms. In a TikTok video, she expressed that being an idol wasn't the right fit for her because she wanted the freedom to express her full authentic self, and it seems like that's exactly what she's working toward. Although she's been relatively quiet on social media, she has posted a few Instagram stories from the studio showing that she's still making music, and while it's unclear whether she's focusing on producing, planning a solo debut, or both, there's no doubt that plenty of people are excited to see what she does next. Emily was also definitely one of the fan favorites on the show, and even now, people still talk about her. It was pretty clear from the start that both Hyeop and Geffen saw her potential too. She ranked top 3 in overall training and development, and in the finale, she tied for 4th place with Lara based on the judges' scores. She was also the only trainee to reach level A, which says a lot about her skills. But it wasn't just the staff who loved her, the other trainees did too. 6 of them picked Emily for their dream lineup, and the current KATSEYE members had nothing but praise for her. She ended up ranking 9th on the show and didn't make the final lineup, but that doesn't mean her career is over. These days, Emily's been focusing on dancing and has already achieved some pretty cool things. Like performing with XG at Coachella, she also helped choreograph Adele's debut song and even returned to acting, starring as the lead in the experimental film O. However, it doesn't look like she's debuting as a soloist anytime soon. Most of her activities after Dream Academy have been dance-related, and in January 2024, she officially signed with Block LA, a talent agency for dancers. As for her Dream Academy friendship, she's still really close with Adela, as they hang out whenever they can and always support each other, and she's also kept in touch with Ezreela and Carly. She even stayed close to the KATSEYE members, and they've been seen hanging out together and cheering each other on even after the show ended. One of the names that kept coming up during and after the show was Adela Jergova, the Slovakian trainee whose journey left fans with more questions than answers. Adela wasn't just another contestant thrown into the mix, as she had been training with the company long before most of the others arrived, even before the girls fully realized they were being filmed for a competition. She was close with a lot of the trainees, helped them improve, earned praise from the mentors, and was widely seen as one of the most skilled in the group. Even the higher-ups seemed to favor her, so when she was eliminated during the very first mission for getting the lowest number of fan votes, the reaction was pure shock. But Adela's time on the show wasn't without its drama, and a lot of that centered around her dynamic with Manon. In Netflix's Pop Star Academy, there's a moment where the contestants are opening up to the therapist about how they've been dealing with online hate and negativity. During that session, Adela mentions the idea of pretty privilege, specifically pointing out how frustrating it can be to see how someone like Manon was seemingly doing less and was still being rewarded. After that, viewers ran with the idea that the two had some kind of rivalry, and when KATSEYE finally debuted and Adela didn't publicly congratulate Manon, it only fueled those rumors. Looking back, Adela has made it clear that the situation wasn't as dramatic as people made it out to be. In an interview, she explained how fans were quick to spin harmless, complicated feelings into a full-blown feud, when in reality, it was just two people navigating the ups and downs of working in such a high-pressure environment. According to Adela, people love to imagine tension where there really isn't much, and at the end of the day, these were normal professional disagreements, not some soap opera-style rivalry. Even though Adela didn't make it into the final Dream Academy group, that hasn't stopped her from building a career of her own, and honestly, she's doing more than fine. In September 2024, she made her solo debut with a track called Home Wrecked, which she wrote and produced herself, followed by Superscar just a month later. But it was her third single, Machine Girl, that really turned heads when it dropped in February. The song was her way of addressing the mean girl image she picked up during her time on the show, and it made waves not just because of the message, but because Grimes co-produced the track and even appeared in the music video alongside actress Sophia Wiley. It turns out both Grimes and Sophia were fans of Adela before they even met met her. After watching Popstar Academy, they messaged her saying they loved her debut and wanted to support her, which says a lot about how fast Adele's star is rising. Other big names like Charlie XCX, Tina Shea, SZA, and Pink Pantheress have also shown her love, so it's pretty clear she's headed for bigger things. That became even more obvious when, this past May, she officially signed with Capitol Records, marking her first major label deal and setting the stage for an even bigger future. As for her relationship with the KATSEYE girls, things seem good with the ones she was actually close to during the show. She's still friends with Lara, Sophia, Megan, and Daniela, and they've been spotted hanging out, cheering each other on, and keeping that friendship alive, even with all their careers heading in different directions. But while some contestants faded from the spotlight, others went on to achieve incredible success. From Produce 101 to Produce 48 and K-Pop Star, these stars have conquered the toughest survival shows. They're boldly owning the spotlight even to this day, topping the charts, and even redefining what it means to be a powerhouse. From captivating K-pop stages to fashion runways, Lee Sung-hoon, better known as Hooni, has become a versatile force in South Korea's entertainment world. Hooni initially gained fame as a member of Winner, a popular boy group under YG Entertainment. His journey began earlier when he competed on K-Pop Star in 2010 and secured 4th place, which led him to sign with YG. By 2014, he debuted with Winner, where he stands out as the main dancer, lead rapper, and vocalist. Hooni's versatility also shines through in TV appearances, including SBS's Law of the Jungle in 2018. In addition to his musical talents, Hooni ventured into fashion as a creative director for the I.MET.U collection by NII in 2016. Kang Daniel's rise to fame has also been nothing short of meteoric. He came first on the 2nd season of Produce 101, leading to his debut with the successful project group 101. After the group disbanded in 2019, Daniel took a brief 6-month hiatus before founding his own agency, Connect Entertainment, and launching a solo career. His debut mini-album Color on Me topped South Korea's Gaon album chart, and he followed with successful releases like Cyan and Magenta, both of which also claimed the top spot on the charts. Cyan's title track, To You, gave him his first top 10 single in South Korea, and Yellow, Daniel's 4th mini-album, delivered his first #1 single, Antidote. In 2022, Daniel made his acting debut in the K-drama Rookie Cops, but just as this star seemed untouchable, the unexpected hit Connect Entertainment dissolved in June 2024 due to a legal dispute, leaving fans in shock. Wasting no time, Daniel quickly signed with a new agency, ARA, in July 2024, continuing his creative journey. While Daniel has been making waves in both music and acting, another former Produce 101 contestant has been blending music, fashion, and philanthropy to create her own unique empire. Jeon So-mi first caught the public's attention in 2016 when she won 1st place on Produce 101, leading to her debut with IOI. After the group disbanded in 2017, she pursued solo activities, joining the reality show Sisters Slam Dunk. Her growing popularity as a versatile performer set the stage for bigger moves in her career. In 2018, she left JYP Entertainment to sign with YG's The Black Label. Her solo debut came in 2019 with Birthday, followed by hits like What You Waiting For in 2020 and Dum Dum in 2021. Her first album, XOXO, dropped in 2021, and her mini-album Game Plan arrived in 2023. She's also a fashion and beauty icon, representing brands like Converse, cementing her influence in multiple industries. However, while Jeon So-mi has been making waves with her solo success, another Produce contestant is captivating audiences with her powerful vocals and high-fashion collaborations. Hyeon went from a Produce 48 underdog to a certified eat girl in Le Sserafim. Raised in New York but destined for the K-pop spotlight, she made the bold move to South Korea and sharpened her skills at the Hanlim Multi-Art School. She first gained attention in Produce 48 in 2018, landing in 26th place, but her potential shone through in every way. She finally made her debut with Le Sserafim on May 2nd, 2022, as the final member of the group, showcasing her musical versatility with opera training and skills in the ukulele, piano, and guitar. Yoonjin's solo debut then came in August 2022 with Raise Your Glass, marking her 100th day with Le Sserafim. In addition to her music career, Yoonjin has made a name in fashion, becoming the first solo ambassador for MAC Cosmetics Korea in 2024 and joining Le Sserafim's partnership with Louis Vuitton in 2023, solidifying her influence in both music and fashion. Idol member Soyeon has truly become a standout figure in music as a rapper, singer-songwriter, and producer, among many things. Her career took off in 2016 when she appeared on MNET's Produce 101, finishing in 20th place, and then competed on Unpretty Rap Star Season 3, securing second runner-up. In November 2017, she released her solo digital single Jelly, showcasing her songwriting and production talents. In 2018, she became the leader and main rapper of Cube Entertainment's Idol, shaping the group's sound and image. Beyond music, Soyeon has become a fashion and beauty icon, collaborating with brands like UGG Korea. Her influence extends into lifestyle, making her a sought-after ambassador. By October 2024, her contract with Cube Entertainment was nearing its end. While rumors of her departure emerged, Cube clarified that all 5 members, including Soyeon, had actually renewed their contracts. Chungha didn't just step into the spotlight, she dazzled her way to it. After finishing 4th on Produce 101 in 2016, she became a household name as a member of IOI. Even after the group disbanded in 2017, she launched a successful solo career with her debut mini-album, Hands on Me, featuring Why Don't You Know as the lead single. Chungha continued to soar with her 2018 releases, Offset and Blooming Blue. But it was 2019's Gotta Go that truly solidified her place as K-pop royalty. Then in 2021, her first full-length album, Carencia, received rave reviews, with Bicycle showcasing her growth as an artist. In 2022, she returned with Bare and Rare and her hit song Sparkling. Chungha faced plenty of challenges with her label though, which delayed her music releases, but thankfully she overcame those setbacks. Her determination and talent have shown that no mismanagement can dim her star power, proving she's a force to be reckoned with in the industry. For some, it may be surprising to find out that Lee Hi was also a contestant on a survival show once. Born in Bucheon, South Korea, Lee Hi is famous for her powerhouse voice and the emotional depth of her music. However, what many people don't really know is that she gained attention in 2011 as a contestant on SBS's K-pop Star, securing second place on the show and a contract with YG Entertainment. In 2012, she debuted with the hit single 1234, becoming a household name in Korea and continued to release hit song after hit song. Then in 2019, Lee Hi left YG for AOMG, a label co-founded by Jay Park and Simon Dominic, allowing her to explore a more diverse sound. In addition to being a certified hitmaker, it's safe to say that her influence extends beyond music. In 2017, she collaborated with MAC Cosmetics to release a limited edition matte red lipstick, which sold out worldwide. By 2023, Lee Hi became the face of the luxury brand Fendi, solidifying her place in the fashion world. Through her music, beauty ventures, and fashion collaborations, Lee Hi has cemented her status as a multifaceted icon in both the entertainment and fashion industries. Even though she's pretty young, Miyawaki Sakura has crafted a career that's as captivating as her talents. Born in Japan, Sakura's early years with the Japanese idol group HKT48 laid the foundation for her rise. In 2018, she stole the spotlight on Produce 48, where her mix of skills and magnetic personality landed her second place on the show and, naturally, a spot in the project group IZ*ONE. As a member of the group, she quickly became a fan favorite, known for her sweet voice and even sweeter personality. After IZ*ONE disbanded in 2021, Sakura didn't skip a beat, signing with Hyeop Corporation and Source Music. By May 2022, she made her debut with Les Seraphim and their hit mini-album Fearless. Her unique blend of Japanese idol experience and IZ*ONE influence made her a standout in Les Seraphim, where her visuals and stage presence shine. Sakura is also quite the businesswoman. In September 2021, before re-debuting with Les Seraphim, Sakura launched her own cosmetics line, Cran by Molac, under the Molac brand. Known for being eco-friendly, it featured vibrant, vegan, cruelty-free lip tints with no artificial fragrances, with Sakura personally designing the products and packaging. Though discontinued in November 2022, the brand made an impact, achieving 50,000 sales in its first month. In 2023, she took her influence to the next level as a Louis Vuitton ambassador, expanding her growing empire. Sakura's bandmate in both IZ*ONE and Les Seraphim, Chaewon, also gained attention as a contestant on MNET's Produce 48 in 2018, securing a top 10 spot and debuting with IZ*ONE. After the group disbanded in April 2021, Chaewon signed with Source Music in March 2022 and became the leader of Les Seraphim. Their May 2022 debut with Fearless marked the beginning of Chaewon's new chapter, where she quickly proved herself as a talented performer and creative force. She co-wrote the track Blue Flame for their debut album, contributing to the group's evolving sound. Beyond music, Chaewon has built a massive social media presence with over 9 million Instagram followers, where her vibrant personality and style captivate fans. Her influence also extends into fashion, as she became Swarovski's local ambassador in South Korea in August 2024 and a Louis Vuitton ambassador in 2023. Chaewon's impact continues to grow, establishing her as a true icon in the industry. Kim Sejong's path to becoming a multifaceted icon is also a story of relentless talent talent and adaptability. Her breakthrough came in 2016 when she secured second place on MNET's Produce 101, which led to her debut with the project group I.MET.U. After I.MET.U's disbandment, Sejong debuted as a member of Gugudan under Jellyfish Entertainment. Sejong didn't limit her idol career to being a member of Gugudan. She also explored solo music projects by releasing Flower Way and soon captivated audiences with her acting in the drama School 2017. When Gugudan disbanded in 2020, Sejong seemingly decided to focus on her acting career and even starred in the hit K-drama A Business Proposal. Sejong has achieved so much since then, winning numerous acting awards, starring in more dramas, mentoring on a reality show, releasing another solo album, and even debuting as a theater actress. The term ace is often overused, but in Sejong's case, it's well-earned and deserved. Yet behind all that success, the industry still hides moments that were carefully manufactured. There comes a day when something so out of the blue happens in K-pop that it feels too insane to be real. From offensive PR stunts to staged idol feuds, in today's video, we'll go over moments that were totally fake. Fake fight on TV. The K-pop world is full of secrets, but there was one that was haunting the fans of I.MET.U for almost 5 years. Yes, we are talking about that one clip from the first season of Produce 101. In 2021, Somi finally decided to spill the tea about the unaired fight scene. In the clip, Somi can be seen and heard yelling at someone who's behind the camera. As we all know, Somi ranked first in the show's finale with almost 860,000 votes. Park So-yeon from Leon Entertainment is seen holding Somi back as if trying to stop her from fighting the mysterious opponent. The clip was broadcasted at the end of episode 5 to tease about what's coming up the following week. However, when the 6th episode aired, Produce 101 fans were surprised to see that Somi's fight wasn't included. They wondered what truly happened, and a lot of speculation occurred. Some thought that the clip was part of an acting challenge or a prank, but none of that happened during the show's broadcast, and other people thought that Somi was beefing with another contestant or even with another member of I.MET.U. They were left in the unknown until Somi decided to talk about it during her Instagram live stream. Somi explained that technically there were no issues going on behind the scenes of the show. Instead, the whole clip was a part of an elaborate plan that Somi came up with by herself. Somi actually staged the fight and told the director to film it. She said in the video, "Mr. Director, I'm going to act like I'm going to be mad, so please put it in the preview or something because it's going to grab attention." The director even encouraged her to go ahead with her plan, and together they staged this whole fight. Somi also added that Park So-yeon was only pulling her away to make it look more intense. The feud that never happened. If we can take anything from this video, then it would be the fact that Mnet just loves to stage and fake fights for publicity. This time, it's about the viral argument between two contestants on Girls Planet 999 that aired in 2021. In one of the teasers of the show, one of the contestants, Fu, was asked to say a word to a fellow contestant Eugene of CLC. Then Fu dissed Eugene by saying, "We go up, but you don't," in reference to CLC's song Helicopter. This moment went pretty viral on social media a little while later, but it also brought Fu a lot of backlash for her remark, to the point that she was receiving threats. The fans were also angered by Mnet for using their old evil editing style by purposefully showing a dramatic situation to attract more views and keep the viewers' attention. Truth be told, the entire situation was fake. The reality is that Fu and Eugene shared a good relationship throughout the show, and there was no bad blood between the two. In an interview, Fu cleared up the situation. She said, "First of all, I respect CLC very much, but the mentors really wanted me to say something to Eugene at that moment. Eugene's reaction at the time was also very good, and what you guys saw in the show after editing is totally different." Fu added that Mnet's editing made the final product way worse than it truly was. Fu also shared that she and the rest of the contestants were very surprised by the final product, with several of them reaching out to her after the episode aired. Fu said, "Viewers might watch it and see that I wasn't affected by the event, but actually, I have been holding back trying not to cry." Fu received a lot of negative reactions after the episode, which undoubtedly took a toll on her. So much so that she even called her parents and cried a lot to them, expressing how difficult the situation was. Not only was Mnet creating drama for absolutely no reason and attracting hate towards an innocent person, the company was also accused of horrendous and harmful conditions the Girls Planet 999 contestants had to live in. Offensive for attention. Although this whole scandal happened all the way back in 2014, there's no way this was ever supposed to be real. The girl group Pritz debuted in the fall of 2014, and right from the start, they had to deal with a lot of backlash. When the girls performed at a horse track sporting event, they decided to sport outfits that were, in one word, controversial. It wasn't surprising to see the girls in gothic Lolita outfits. No, what really caused the huge uproar was the bright red armband worn by the members on their left arm. There's no point in denying that the symbol is too familiar to the symbol used by Germans during the Second World War. According to their agency, Pandagram, the symbol was supposed to represent the group's hope and ambition and to expand without a limit in 4 directions. Pandagram also claimed that the resemblance was never intentional. Although they made all these claims, the similarity is just too big for it to be a coincidence. Even back then, the agency was accused by netizens of creating so-called noise marketing to gain attention. Just a few weeks after this, Pritz was embroiled in yet another controversy involving a political issue. This time, the group came under fire for putting what resembles the Japanese imperial flag in their promotional material. It was for their first single called The Hardest Question for Mankind. Upon first glance, it looks like an ordinary black background with the girls in the front, but once people looked at it carefully, there seems to be another image that looks suspiciously similar to the Japanese imperial flag, also known as the Rising Sun flag. This flag symbolizes a lot of bad things within the Korean community because of the cruelty and horrors Koreans went through during the Japanese occupation. Many people believe that all of this was staged and made by the company to create buzz around the group. The truth about survival and debut shows. Some people love them, some people hate them, but survival and debut shows are still an important part of the K-pop industry, and that's how a lot of K-pop groups come to be. The question is, how many of these shows are truly genuine and how many of them are completely scripted? People have been talking about this issue for a long time, but one show that feels the least genuine and real is the survival show Stray Kids were in. One user on Reddit pointed out that everything about this show feels extremely scripted and pre-planned, which is generally not the point of a survival or debut show. From the beginning, it was obvious that Stray Kids were going to debut as a 9-piece group because why else would they release the Elevator music video? Park Jin-young himself received a lot of backlash after the show aired because, if any of you have seen it, you'll know how emotional and traumatizing it was. It would also make no sense if Minho and Felix were actually eliminated and weren't given a second chance a little while later. Judging by the reactions of the other members when Felix and Minho were eliminated, we can tell that they didn't know this was coming. Even though we can't say all of this was planned and staged for sure and it's all just rumors, it wouldn't fit the standard way most survival shows go. So, a lot of people believe that JYP eliminated Felix and Minho only in front of the cameras just to keep the show intense and the viewers interested. The most well-known case of a survival show being staged and rigged is MNET's Produce 101. In July of 2019, several viewers of Produce 101 suspected that the total votes were manipulated after they noticed particular numerical patterns. There were even voice recordings that discussed tampering with the votes, which extended to the investigation to all 4 seasons. Later on, it was revealed that 2 producers of the show manipulated the rankings and also took bribes from various entertainment companies such as Starship Entertainment, Woolim, and MBK to make sure their favorite trainees would debut. The entire lineup of X1 and IZ*ONE was also decided way before the public voting took place. 2 different voices. Astro's Cha Eun-woo is known in the industry for his stunning visuals, the characters he plays in dramas, but also for his soothing and sultry voice. Much to everyone's surprise, it was revealed in September of 2020 that Eun-woo actually uses 2 different voices, much to his agency's orders. In a video that was posted to Twitter, Eun-woo speaks in 2 entirely different voice pitches. Initially, Eun-woo's fans were swooning over his deep tone, but soon they realized that something wasn't right. It was speculated that Eun-woo was ordered by his agency Fantasio Music to use his so-called idol voice even when he was filming different advertisements. Allegedly, Eun-woo had to speak in higher pitches ever since he was a teenager to master the perfect idol voice. These speculations angered a lot of fans who were upset that K-pop agencies go as far as controlling an idol's voice. These fans also wondered why it was so important for Eun-woo to use a completely different voice. Although it is upsetting that Eun-woo uses a voice that isn't his natural one, he's also used this in situations that he was more comfortable in, and surely we would catch him speaking in his natural one more often if it was causing him any major issues. Eun-woo's fans also dubbed this voice as a capitalistic voice since he uses it mainly for idol and campaigning purposes. They also agreed that even though manipulating your voice and changing the pitches depending on the situation is a tough skill, they would like to hear more of his real voice in the future. And if this shocked you, there's a lot more to uncover about the industry. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the truth behind these shows is only getting darker.